On 9th August, the Libyan National Army moved unilaterally towards southwestern parts of Libya, sparking Western forces and groups to mobilize and assert their readiness to respond to any attack. While the Libyan National Army later clarified its purpose in moving these forces was to secure the southwestern border, this move generated tensions in the West and raised concerns with Libya's neighbor Algeria. These types of unilateral security moves are not confined only to movements of East-West forces, but also occur among Western forces and armed groups. On July 23rd, forces affiliated with the Government of National Unity moved westward, sparking mobilization by the LNA and among armed groups in that area. On 9th August, heavy armed clashes broke out in Tajura, east of Tripoli, between two armed groups, resulting in fatalities, injuries to civilians, and destruction of property. Local mediation efforts diffuse the situation. Mr. President, unilateral actions by political and security figures are undermining stability in other ways. Unilateral attempts to unseat the central bank governor are met with countervailing attempts to maintain him. Attempts to unseat the prime minister and his government are met with attempts to maintain them. On August 14th, tensions escalated and armed groups mobilized in Souk al-Juma, Tripoli, over reports of some armed movements seeking to take control over the central bank. The situation was diffused in the early morning of August 15th. On 7th August, in a highly close contest, a potentially one-vote difference, the results of the vote of the president of the High Council of State remain contested, and voting for the seats of vice president and rapporteurs are suspended. The political contest over whether to oppose or maintain the prime minister and the Government of National Unity have contributed significantly to this stalemate in the High Council of State. I urge the High Council of State to quickly resolve this issue as it risks further undermining its unity and legitimacy. On 13 August, some members of the House of Representatives met in Benghazi and voted to end the mandate of the Government of National Unity and the Presidency Council and to transfer the role of the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces to the Speaker of the House of Representatives. These members also endorsed the House of Representatives designated government in the East as the only legitimate executive. Western leaders rejected these actions. In response to these and other unilateral actions, UNSMIL reaffirmed to all political leaders and institutions their commitments and obligations under the Libyan political agreement and its amendments in line with all relevant Security Council resolutions, particularly Resolution 2702 of 2023. Mr. President, esteemed members of the Security Council, unilateral actions in relation to the economic sphere are also causing problems, instability. Following months of efforts to develop a unified budget with the participation of East, West, and Southern representatives, on 10th of July, the House of Representatives adopted a supplementary budget allocation submitted unilaterally by the House of Representatives designated government. This was denounced by leaders in the West. Moreover, efforts continue to change the central bank governor. The Presidency Council issued a decision to name a new governor and form a board of directors over the last couple of days, and this has been rejected by the House of Representatives. These efforts are fueled by perceptions that the central bank governor is the central bank is not acting in a manner transparent and with fair governance to both East and the West in terms of allocation of resources. Unrelated, but nonetheless important, is a unilateral decision to close the Sharara oil fields under the control of the LNA forces, causing the National Oil Corporation to declare a force majeure on 7th August. Mr. President, in the midst of this, UNSMIL, along with member states, have been actively working to de-escalate the situation. In my interactions with key leaders and public statements, I've urged Libyan leaders to refrain from unilateral actions, which would only further exacerbate the situation. And I've urged dialogue and a commitment to a political process to move ahead in the interest of the Libyan people. I've conveyed these same messages in my bilateral meetings with Libyan stakeholders. As a first step, UNSMIL is working to help facilitate an overall de-escalation and is proposing talks to develop a set of confidence-building measures between all parties to bring an end to unilateral actions and create a more conducive environment for resuming the political process. Among other things, these types of measures would aim at ending the unilateral actions, a commitment to that, restoring confidence in the central bank, ensuring that moves by military and security actors are coordinated so as to prevent mobilization and fears, among others. Going further, as a follow-on, then a success of the next stage of a political process will require good faith efforts by political leaders, security leaders, and actors, an engaged broader public, and a coordinated approach in support of Libyan talks by the international community. The international community's support for Libyan-led efforts is indispensable. I will continue to work towards this through engaging the diplomatic community in Libya, in coordinating messaging, and in capitals abroad in preparation for convening this phase 2 of political talks. Last month, I launched visits to some regional capitals to discuss a coordinated approach in support of Libyan and UN-facilitated efforts. My interlocutors expressed their commitment to support UNSMIL as it prepares the groundwork for launching these larger political talks. Alongside the holding of political talks and in relation to a unified government and the holding of elections in line with current Libyan laws, UNSMIL will continue reinvigorating the economic, security, and international humanitarian law and right to working groups. These are critical issues that need progress alongside discussions and talks around formation of a government and elections. UNSMIL is also working with the Presidency Council and our partners of the African Union to reactivate the national reconciliation process and the holding of a conference under the auspices of the Presidency Council later this year.